Hey everyone, I am finally back. Welcome to my new home. I am so in love with it. I don't even know how to describe it. It's perfect. We've only been here for 5 days and I just want to never ever ever leave. We made a big Target run a couple mornings ago. We went to IKEA today and we've built most of that. So we're really starting to get pretty settled in. It's been less than a week and I love that. I love that my husband and I are both like, no, it's time to be moved in. We need to be done with boxes. Let's just do it. So we've been working really hard all week, but I think we're going to be done by this weekend, hopefully. So super stoked about that. And I'm very excited about my new filming setup. It's still a little bit in flux. We're still working on it, but I think it's going to be really great. So hopefully, yes, let me know your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Tell me everything. I want to know what you want to see. So let me know how this compares, okay? Perfect. Of course, this also means that I finally have all of my makeup back. I've been living out of that one little bag for like 2.5 weeks. This room was actually the last room to get unpacked because it was sort of low on the priority list of actually living. So I just finally unpacked here yesterday. That means that today I kind of went hunting because I didn't buy anything from the Sephora Pantone Marsala collection. I sort of went into it expecting to buy most of it, and then I actually saw them and swatched them and wore them, and none of them were quite what I was expecting. They all ended up going a little browner than I wanted them to. So today I sat down and I looked through all of my stuff, and I picked out some colors that are what I think of as marsala, including my nail polish, which is actually a Sation color. This is not a brand that most people talk about unless you're really into nail polish, and even then, it kind of gets overlooked. This is in the shade Ring Around the Horsey from the Little House on the Prairie collection a couple years ago. I was actually named after Laura Ingalls Wilder, so I bought several colors from that collection. I really haven't ever worn this, but it's perfect for marsala. Like, this is exactly the shade that I think of. So I sort of compared everything to this, just so you have an idea of where I'm coming from with my interpretation of marsala. And with that, if you want to see what products I think are and aren't quite marsala appropriate and how exactly I got this look, then keep watching. Surprise, surprise, to start off with my foundation, I'm going to use the Missha Perfect Cover BB in number 13. I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of this, and it is actually a little bit low right now, so I'm kind of really sad about it. And I'm going to put it on with this really weird brush from Sephora. It's the number 53. It's called the Pro Full Coverage Airbrush Foundation Brush. They do some really good foundation brushes, and then they came out with this last year, and we all kind of looked at it and said, what? I don't think very many people have been using it online because why would anyone buy it when it's so weird? So I thought I would at least kind of show you how it's supposed to be used and if it works or not. So the idea is that you're supposed to be able to cover your whole face in basically 3 motions. You're supposed to be able to do like this, down one side, and then down the other, and sort of the middle. It's pretty streaky at that point though, so obviously you kind of have to go back and work it in. So it's not really 3 motions, but it does cover a lot of area all at once. So there you go. I'm not like totally convinced by the finish of it. I just really prefer the finish of a sponge like the Beauty Blender or the Real Technique sponge. We all know it. We all love it. It's really hard to beat that as far as I'm concerned. But in terms of a really fast finish, this is not a bad option. Next, I'm going to put on some concealer, of course. This is the I Duty Triple Remedy from First Aid Beauty. It is really sheer, so it doesn't really cake up in lines at all, which is great. And it's also just a little bit peachy, so it helps correct any purpley undertones that you might have in your circles. And then for brows, I'm just so excited to finally have Dipbrow back in my life that of course it's what I'm reaching for right now. And today I'm applying that with a Missha Professional Eyebrow Angle Brush. This brush is a little thicker than I really like to use for my eyebrows, so I don't feel like I get as precise a line as I would with something like the Sigma Angled Liner Brush, which is what I typically use for this product. It's dirty right now though, so. Now on to eyeshadow. Of course, I'm going to prime with my Too Faced Shadow Insurance. So I didn't end up buying any of the Sephora Collection Marsala products. I just didn't love any of them. Instead, now that I have access to all of my makeup again, I decided to go through and see what I have that's kind of close to it. My first thought was the Maybelline Color Tattoo in Pomegranate Punk. It is pretty close, but it's actually a little browner. I found that that was pretty true of several of the colors that I looked at. Another one that I thought maybe would be close is the third shade in the Wet n Wild Trio, Knock on Wood. Also a little bit brown. One more that was a little bit more brown than Marsala is in the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. It's Cherry Cordial, which is this shade here. I thought it would be pretty close, but it's a little too dark and it comes off just a little bit too brown on the skin. The final one that was a little bit too brown was in the Lorac Toffee Crunch palette from last Christmas, so holidays of 2013. In this one, and actually on camera it does look pretty brown, but in person it's pretty like burgundy, so maybe that explains it. I had one more option that didn't quite work out, and this is from Hello Waffles Musician Collection. This is Vivaldi. I love this whole thing, but I wish that I'd gotten the pressed palette instead of the single loose ones. I just never reached for loose shadows. I think these are all gorgeous shades though. The shade that I actually ended up thinking was really, really close to true Marsala is in the Marc Jacobs palette from last summer. It is this red, the second one in on this side. It's really beautiful, and I never really used it last year, but now that I have it, and now that Marsala is a thing, I actually really think it's gorgeous, and we should all be using it more often, so I'm glad I have this. So I'm going to start by picking this up with a stiff brush. This is actually the Sigma Concealer brush, but it works just as well for this. And then I'm going to start on the outer corner of the eye. And then I think I want to do more of a halo placement. I never used to do this, but I have been a little bit over the last couple weeks, and I've really been liking the effect that it gives. So I'm going to bring this into the inner corner as well. And then I will connect those two in the crease. So that looks totally crazy, but let's blend that out so it's not quite as insane. This is the Sephora Collection Pro Crease Brush. It's more or less clean. I've used it to blend out a crease a couple times this week, but it'll still do the job. With nothing on it first. And then with a little bit of the actual colored eyeshadow this time. Note to self, I need to wash this after today. Then I'm going to go in with this Sephora Collection Pro blending brush and Makeup Geek Vanilla Bean and blend that out just even more. So there's that all done, all of that beautiful Marsala halo goodness. Let me go ahead and catch up with the other eye, and I will be right back. And now for the highlight in the center, I'm going to go in with Makeup Geek Shimma Shimma. Of course, it is just my go-to highlight. And a flat shader brush. This is the Sigma E55, but any flat eyeshadow brush will do. The hardest part of this in a halo eye I have found is making sure that you have the same center on both eyes. Because if one is slightly farther out or in or wider, it can end up making you look really like wall-eyed or kind of like really dumb. And then again with a crease brush that had just a little bit of the color from the Marc Jacobs palette, I'm going to work on blending those in just a little bit better. Now I'm going to take the Sigma pencil brush and once again that same shade from the Marc Jacobs palette. And this time I'm going to go under the eye just slightly. And I'm only going to go as far as the color goes on the top of the lid. I'm not going to go past that into where the highlight is. If you wanted to, you could continue that all the way under the eye, so matching up with the top, putting a highlight color here, and then more of the Marsala shade in the center, toward the tear duct, I suppose, the center of the face, not the center of the eye, whatever. But I'm not super in love with the idea of that much of a red shade under my eye, so I'm going to keep it really simple and just stick to the outer third. Next, I am going to do a little bit of liner, but I want it to be pretty smudgy, so I'm going to go in with the Makeup Geek Gel Liner in Mobster, and this brush from Sigma. This is their eyeliner brush, E05, but I've never been able to get a precise line with it because it's a pretty big nib. So I feel like this will be a better choice for something like this where I want it to be really smudgy. If I wanted a really precise line, I would actually use the Makeup Geek Bent Angle brush. It is the tiniest. Their bent liner brush. It's seriously like, I don't know if you can see the difference. Look how much smaller the Makeup Geek brush is. It's insane. So I'm just going to start really close to the lash line and define that first, and then work on smudging it out just a little bit. I really don't ever define my lower lash line very much, but I am going to try to smudge just a little bit out here with that eyeshadow. I'm gonna go back in with the pencil brush that I used on the eyeshadow down there just to help smudge out the eyeliner now. At this point, I feel confident saying my skin does need just a little bit of powder, so on a large powder brush, I'm going to use the Too Faced Cocoa Powder Foundation. It is a foundation, so that's probably silly, but meh, I just won't be used very much. It's a pretty light coverage foundation anyway, but this is the lightest shade. It is the shade Fair, and it actually is not a horrible match for me. Of course, I can't not use NYX Taupe. I almost always use it with this flat brush from the Sonia Kashuk 15th anniversary set. That's just who I am. And then I'm really not a very big blush girl until maybe the last 6 months. I think I only owned one, and it was Wet n Wild because that's the only thing that I ever want to spend money on. So I only have one sort of deeper blush shade, and it is from the Nars Guy Bourdain palette. And it is this shade up here. Unfortunately, these don't have names, so I'm not sure what color it is. I don't want to pick up too much of this because I'm already wearing a lot of it on my eyes, and I'm also going to put it on my lips. So this is a Real Techniques dual fiber brush, and it shouldn't have picked up very much at all. And then using the smaller of the dual fiber brushes from Real Techniques, I'm going to use Shimma Shimma as my cheek highlight. This is what I kept with me for the last couple weeks while I didn't have very much makeup, and I actually really like it. How to finally do my lashes. It's always so weird to like sit here and look at myself with this much eyeshadow on and no lashes because, let's be real, it looks real silly. So using my trusty Sephora eyelash curler, it has been sitting in my lap for the last 10 minutes. I actually have a heating pad on my lap because it's literally 5 degrees outside right now. It's so cold. So this is super toasty. And then today for mascara, I'm going to use Maybelline the Rocket Volume Express. Sorry about that. It is one that I had open, but that I shipped. So once again, one that I haven't gotten to use in the last 2 weeks. And right now I feel like if I haven't gotten to use it, I just want to use it just because I can. I did not keep this one with me because I just don't love it. If I'm wearing it for longer than like 4 or 5 hours, it flakes pretty bad on me, but I know a lot of people adore it. Mascara is such an interesting thing because it's so personal. Every mascara wears so differently on every person. Finally, for lips, once again, I went through and I picked out all the colors I have that might be somewhat similar to Marsala, and I ended up with 4. Let me go through these with you. First of all, I have the Revlon Color Stay. Oh god, it doesn't even say on it anymore. It's the one with the quilted packaging, and this line has actually been discontinued, which breaks my heart because they were so beautiful. But this is in the shade 045 Raspberry, if you happen to still be able to find it. It's a really pretty formula. I also have the Revlon Color, is it Color Burst? Yes, Color Burst, also quilted packaging. This is the lip gloss, though, in Bordeaux, which is number 016. I'm just not very much of a lip gloss person, so not personally feeling this tonight, but it is beautiful. The 2 products that I am going to use, I have a lip liner from Rimmel. This is in the color 057 Ravish, and it is Marsala, period, full stop. This is Marsala right here. So if you're really disappointed with the Sephora lipstick like I am, just wear this. And the lipstick that I'm going to wear is from Smashbox. It is their Be Legendary formula. This is in the color Fig. No number, just the name Fig. This was one of the $10 things from Sephora this year that came with this and a really pretty nude pink. And I've never really worn their lipsticks, and I tried them on that weekend, and they're really nice, actually. I don't know why they don't get talked about more. I feel like Smashbox, as in general, just doesn't get talked about enough. So this is the lipstick shade that I'm going to wear. And then going in with that Fig lipstick. So there you have it. That's my completed unofficial Marsala look. I was looking at it earlier on the website trying to do some research on what of my products would actually count as what I think of as Marsala. And it looks a lot like a brick red, but just a little bit dustier, so not quite that pigmented, but I like pigmentation. So I'm trying to go for a brownish red that's still red, not a brown. So trying to find that line, I think, has been the hard part for a lot of makeup companies that I've seen. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It is so good to be back to shooting tutorials. I cannot even begin to tell you. Of course, you are more than welcome to like, subscribe, go to my Twitter, go to my Instagram, do all of that stuff. I would love to see you there and talk more about makeup or nail polish or whatever else is going on in your lives. And I will see you again on Monday. Bye, guys!